like his strength breakdown. Whenever I looked at what I wanted to see Jahlil Okafor improve on the most going into next year, two things jumped out to me right away. So for the strengths, it was getting buckets. For improvement, it was rebounding and defense. And for the rebounding, I think some people are going to go to look at stats and say, hey, the stats show he's a good rebounder. But this last year, he only rebounded, it was his worst of his career, 6.8 per 36 minutes. And that's all I have to go, or that's all I'm going off of for this, is what I saw this season from Jahlil Okafor. And I'll throw you some per 36 minute rebounding stats from some other guys on the team in a minute. But we want to get into this. So here, there's a couple components I thought. One, I hate to call out a guy's effort, but like he just doesn't go after rebounds like what you see from Stewart and other guys. Here he lets a guy run in from the perimeter, go after the rebound, and I just don't see him going after this one, like aggressively going to attack it. And here's even more so, he probably ends up with the rebound there, even though he wasn't the guy that actually went after the ball and really tried to go and get it. I know that happens sometimes though. Here, he just kind of settles. I talked to my high school kid. You can't settle for being on defense and being on the outside of a box out, especially when you're the defensive player. I just didn't see a lot of effort there. This is in the first quarter of a game against the Timberwolves, and he kind of just allows the guy he's supposed to box out to go get the rebound. And then in this situation here, what he does a lot is he just goes with one hand. So here you'll see this multiple times. I'll be able to pause the clip. Just going with one hand and allows the smaller Drew Holiday to go up with two hands and grab that rebound. Again here, he's just going to reach with one hand. And you see how Tyler Cook's just going with one hand as well, but he's really going after it. So like to me, that's what it was for Jahlil Okafor, like aggressively going after rebounds, okay? And then only going at him with one hand. As you see there, he just again puts one hand out going after the board. And one more example here off the shot. Again, like I think another aspect, one hand, and then just doesn't have the lift in some of these situations like guys like Cook has, the length of Isaiah Stewart, some of those things to go and get this rebound over the offensive player. You see like his reach, he just out-jumped, out-lengthed there, okay, on that rebound, not able to go get it over the offensive player. So I do think I gave that. Stu averaged 11.2, Plumlee 12.5, Cook even 8 per 36 minutes. Jahlil Okafor was at 6.8. Maybe it's because I'm comparing him to those guys, but that's an area I'd like to see him improve. And if he can do that along with his defense, he's a guy I would be okay seeing on the floor because he is such a bucket getter offensively. But some of the components of his defense, because he lacks foot speed, we're going to see this a lot. Doesn't close out to a shooter. Bobby Portis shot it really well from three-point last year, okay, and he wasn't there on the closeout. That was early in the year to his defense, okay? I wrote down Joel Embiid in the playoffs and saying, how do guys not close out to him? He's the best player on the floor. Well, you see it here again. No sense of urgency from Okafor. Again, in a close game in the third quarter, gives him an open shot. And then I think maybe the biggest thing with Okafor is you have no choice but to play drop coverage and pick and roll. I'm not saying that may not be what the Pistons want to do, but you really have no choice. You can't switch, probably can't hard hedge, you can't trap. And then he doesn't have great length, okay? And so they're going to shoot uncontested shots around 10 feet. Here it's the roll guy. Whiteside, you see catch and shoot that little short pick and roll shot. Here he's going to short roll, and now it's going to be Halliburton that shoots the little floater as the pick and roll ball handler. So it puts you in a tough spot defensively because you have no other option other than to play drop coverage. He can't really contest those. And then even here, when Whiteside goes onto the rim, he's not really good at contesting things at the rim. Sometimes he does a good job just going two hands straight up, but not really a guy that's going to give you much defense at the rim. And then you'll see it again here. This isn't his fault. Hami gets beat, but you see a lot of times help defenders come from behind here and block that shot off the backboard. Okafor doesn't even go for it because he doesn't have the length and or athleticism to really contest. So defensively, it's not so much that he's a negative defender. I think he is in some situations, but you have to play a certain coverage pick and roll. He's not really able to step out on the perimeter, okay? And then also that rebounding. Just would like to see a more intensity on the boards, go with two hands, and help finish off some possessions.